And I got really beaten up. Ended up with the detached retina in my right eye.
Something's wrong. This will let you know how bullshit sometimes my industry is.
That was her way of helping me. Yeah, sure, yeah. I just couldn't leave my daughter, and you know what I mean. I'm taking the business to Sydney.
Dude, I was an alpha tester. From growing up in impoverished South Auckland, for the three of you that listen or watch this from the States at any point, that's Inglewood, through to getting into gang life at a young age, and then reaching a crossroads where he had to make a decision as to the kind of life he wanted to lead, to then building a dumpling empire and expanding offshore. We're going to go and speak to Shane. Shane is the creator, chief dumpling maker of the Sumthin Dumplin empire. And we'll have a chat with him about his interesting past and a little bit about what the future holds. This won't be the last time we have him on the Falafel Framework. I'm sure there's many more chats to have. So hopefully you find it as interesting as I did, and we'll jump into it. It's episode 2 of the Falafel Framework. Look, man, I'm not going to do you the disservice of introducing you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were, and what you're up to today.
That's a long. That's a long.
So I got 60 minutes. Like, give us.
It's better in short snippets. Like,
Yeah, give me
where was
the
I?
elevator pitch.
I mean, just born into immigrant Chinese family, middle lower class, South Auckland, normally most of my upbringing, South and then East. Poor, yes, grew up, but happy. Very
Funny that, eh?
My parents tried the best they could with what they knew and everything they had. And I went to school. I did reasonably well, actually. I got into trouble, which we can go into detail later. And a lot of trouble, a lot of trouble. A lot of self-inflicted damage to myself, physically, mentally, probably spiritually too. And then I started to turn my life around the last decade, 2 decades, in business. From sales, product flow with you, we had a lot of success, really.
100%, yeah.
To selling dumplings today. And then...
You undersold the shit out of that.
Huh?
You undersold the shit out of that. You're not selling dumplings today. Way more to it than that. Okay. The point of this is there's going to be a lot of people from a similar background. There's going to be a lot of, especially with the new generation, you and I probably didn't have the influence of social media anywhere near as much as the new generation does. You and I we might have felt self-conscious or whatever from, our peers,
sure,
those around us, but we weren't looking at 10,000 profiles of successful 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
And why we're not there and what we're doing wrong.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that I do really want to discuss today, and I think you'll add a lot of value on this side, is having a conversation. I'm not going to get into gender politics and shit, right? It's different people will appeal to different demographics. But I think having a conversation around what young people, right, whether it's boys, girls, men, women, whatever, go through. And I think naturally, me personally, I would gravitate to, what a young man would go through, because that's what I went through.
Yeah.
And it's probably similar to you, is what you went through when you were young. And you mentioned you got into a lot of trouble. You mentioned you've been through a lot of stuff. But also what triggered a change? Because I think there are certain elements in our lives where those things are choices. And there are other elements where we are forced to make choices.
But then still choices, right? Still choices, yeah.
Still choices, right?
Yeah.
So I think I'd love to hear a little bit about what sort of trouble you got into, whatever you can legally share. What sort of trouble you got into, but also, more importantly, at what point. It's like my mum used to tell me when when she was like raising us.
Yeah.
And I asked her when I got older, I'm like, how are you not paranoid about, because I used to, after it was like free time in school, would go down to the local subway. when I got older, I realized how much more shit I could have gotten away with.
Yeah.
And I told my mum, I'm like, how are you not paranoid? And she turned around, and she said, like, I trust you to make the right choices. So tell me a little bit about maybe a point that you remember. And I think a lot of people will have this moment where you can distinctly remember saying, not going to do this again.
It sounds like we want to talk about points of extreme adversity and pain, right? Like just snippets of extreme adversity and pain. Right.
Yeah, but also what got you to the other side. I want to hear about the pain of climbing the mountain.
Yeah.
But also what turned that into an actual climb where it became a positive thing, not just, the downward spiral that sometimes can end very negatively for a lot of people.
Okay.
I want people to be able to take inspiration from it rather than just focus on the pain and the negativity.
I could talk about a few very painful moments, self-inflicted.
Yeah.
In my life. One is at the end of towards the end of high school last year, over boys being boys. Like, I mean, I used to tell people that I wasn't naughty, and when I look back now, I'm like, holy shit, I was real naughty. I guess I was, and so one of my friends had gotten beaten up or whatever, and I was helping out. It was just silly stuff. And what actually ended up happening is we went to have this nice fight, and real gangsters showed up, like guys, organized, bands, trucks, very organized. And I got confronted by pistol. This is just opposite Packer College.
Oh shit!
Man, that's a lot of people. Being the young, hot-headed guy and fearless, I ran into them myself. No, I thought everyone had followed me at the time, but no one did. Right? I was only like after a couple of interactions, I looked around, I'm like, holy shit, I'm by myself. Fuck, man, And I got really beaten up. And long story short, I got hit in both my right and left eye. Pistol whipped, and I just got destroyed, right? And aftermath of that is my best friend, David, scooping me up. Anyways, I went to hospital. I ended up with the detached retina in my right eye, broken face. I still have a broken face, stroked and stuff. Can't feel the sunlight now. So right eye detached, still blind today, fully. And then at the time, just after the incident, my left eye was damaged too.
Wait, you're blind in your right eye?
I'm blind in my right eye today, yeah. Oh. And you can feel a hole in my face. I've no nerves.
I had no idea you're blind in your right eye.
I'm very cautious with my vision.
So that's the angle to get you with.
Yeah. It's definitely one of my weaknesses, I guess, like my eyesight, my physical weakness.
I suppose, yeah. But I'm not going to call them out.
But there's other weaknesses, right? That
I've got a staff member who was born with what a lot of people would call with a weakness, but I'd argue that's become his strength. I'll get him on here one day. I'm not going to reveal.
I can't even guess. I already know what it is.
You already know.
I already know what it is. I'm looking at him right now.
You can see how.
Yeah. I'm looking at him.
Right?
I can read it.
Yeah. Okay, so you got into hospital, went through that traumatic experience. What happened?
And then I was actually blind in my left eye as well, so both eyes. So blind in my left eye, cornea damage, whatever. And I came out of hospital, and I went through pitch black darkness, I guess, for maybe 3-4 my life. And that painful. I didn't know that my left eye could be saved to some degree with a soft lens and a hard. I would 2 lenses in my left.
Wait, so you didn't even know if your eyesight could be recovered?
It could be recovered. It was really painful.
How old are you?
Oh man, 17. And like, it was really scary, right?
You come from a traditional Asian family.
Yeah.
What was your mum doing at the time?
Well, I couldn't piss or shit or eat, so
no way.
It was very painful. And I would just cry because I had these ideas, and I still remember one of the thoughts was, I can't even stack shelves and count down. Can't sit. I can't even pee, right? Like,
oh, that's tough.
Yeah. And then slowly, the left eye started to clear up a bit, and I could vaguely just see. The moment I could see, but like what kind of like this, my parents sent me to school. I'd be sitting at the front of school. There must be guys in high school that remember I'd be sitting in front of the class, fucking see shirt and that they were just like, look, if you can take a shit, go wipe your own ass. And luckily, specialist came and got. Now I'm like soft lens, hard lens, and I can see with 2 lenses in my left eye. But the period of not knowing and pitch darkness, that was, man, I cried. It was very painful.
Dude, that'd be for a 17-year-old thinking about prospects of work, prospects of having a family.
I can't even eat, man, or pee. Right?
Yeah. But also, like, you probably had those thoughts going through your head of what your future would actually be like.
Yeah, well, that was it.
Fuck that. Dude, I'm
painful, man.
I'm sorry you went through that.
Therapy, man. Yeah, it's a beautiful memory.
I know it's an empty statement, right? But
did it to myself.
Nobody, yes, didn't expect. I wouldn't have expected. How long ago was this? 10, 15 years ago, to be pistol whipped. If I ever went
20 years ago. 20 years ago, and the person I went to back up and whatever, who ran away from his own fight, came to my house with a cake.
Oh,
I see him around sometimes here
these
days, you know.
At least you more cake.
I see him around sometimes these days. Comes from a very well-off family, lip and ball, and it's all right. It was my blessing, though, right? It was my gift. That was my gift.
Yeah, but the key is to be able to see it that way. What makes you say it's your gift? Help me understand that.
Well, everything good comes from adversity. And to be blessed with such extreme adversity, but still be gifted with hope, with the vision of one eye, sure, 2 lenses, whatever, that's God's gift and blessing to me. Here, take the gift of adversity. I'm still going to let you see because, I'm still going to save you a little bit, give you a bit of a handout. Go do something with it. Fucking do something with it. Lucky, man.
That's powerful, bro.
I'm lucky.
You're a dad now, right?
Yeah.
If you think back now as a parent to what your mum did for you, how do you see that now, being a parent yourself?
I got into even more trouble after that. So
that wasn't wrong bottom.
I tell you what, I was a shitty son. But now I can confidently say, with conviction, I'm a good son. I'm a fucking great son today. But I was a shit son for an extended period of time.
The fact that it's funny though. I know you say that and I know you feel that and you mean the words that you say. But from a parent's perspective, like I can, like having 2 kids on my end.
Yeah.
I don't think your parents would have ever felt that way. I think they're definitely proud of what you've achieved, don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is I can't imagine your mother ever sitting down at any point during your entire upbringing, sitting down and being like, damn, I've got a shit son. I think the whole time she would have been sitting down going, how do I help him?
I don't know, man. She hasn't really helped.
We're not talking about this, eh?
She hasn't really helped me much. She's always like just made sure that
her forcing you to go back to school.
Yeah, that was her way of helping me. Yeah, sure, yeah. Go sort your shit out. Yeah.
But what does that teach you? Like fundamentally, if you think about it, right? That one action, because I've known you after you became an adult.
Yeah.
I've worked with you. I've seen your growth, right? From a friend's perspective, I can confidently say that I'm proud to know you as a friend. I'm proud of what you've become, and I know that this is the start, right? I know this is not even the start. It's the setting the foundations. With that said, though, I can almost take every single time I've seen you overcome something back to that one thing that you just told me about, which is that voice in the back of your head of like, if you can take a shit, you can go to school.
Yeah. Wipe your own ass, right? Here.
Yeah.
Fuck up, you sort shit out.
Okay. What was your upbringing like? What was your relationship like with your parents?
My mum, in particular, is very hard on me. always been very hard. So I guess she must have believed in me in her own way. Being Chinese, using your mouth to communicate you love someone is rare, right? You communicate love in a different love language.
Yeah.
Very hard on me. Always pushed me to go further. I mean, I was entering like for example, I'm quite good at communicating now, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, my mum pushed me to do speech competitions in Chinese, which I can, at that age, I couldn't speak very well, you know, growing up in New Zealand, right?
Yeah, 100%.
At like 5 years old, like, you know, she pushed me, and I sucked. And she's like, and like, I sucked at heaps of things. Yeah. But she pushed me to do these things that pushed me to confront, you know, my, so try new things.
How would you do that differently? Like, we raise our kids to be better than we were, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm raising my sons to be a better father, husband, man, whatever than I was.
Yeah.
And, you know, like the age-old thing of you raise your son's poor and your daughter's rich.
Yes, that's the same in my culture. We say that too. Yeah.
So how, if you were, and not to cast any shade into how you were raised, I fundamentally believe that actual parents, I'm not talking about egg and sperm donors.
Yeah.
There are shitty parents out there.
Yeah.
But actual parents that did their best for the circumstances that they knew. If that was you and your daughter,
Yeah.
how would you do things differently compared to what you went through?
Well, I mean, the fact that she's a daughter it's not a
Different. But if you had a son, let's do that. If you had a son, how would you do things differently?
Probably not very different. I wouldn't handhold him too much. Oh, one thing I would do differently is I would verbally tell him I love him. Maybe not a lot, but enough. But other than that, I wouldn't very much. I say this at the time, like to my family, brother and sister. At the end of my career, my wealth, like I might have a family home. I think I've said this to you as well. Like I'm just gonna donate everything. Like we have like a family home and maybe like some like little things, you know.
Yeah.
My wealth. I'm gonna set up some creative trusts or charities, whatever. And I'm gonna spend that like for the community, for society. Like don't be counting on my cash, no. And that goes for my daughter and my son too. There'll always be a family home for you. There'll be support. I can teach you. It's not very hard to do well. We're gonna shut on saying that, but it's not like rocket science to get ahead, right? You know.
I think it's the age-old thing, man. I think jumping onto that, right? There are so many times in business, even generally in life, I think it even seeps into relationships. It seeps into everything, right? I was talking to my wife the other day, and we've been married for 13 plus years, right? And been through hell and back. And I sat down and I turned around and I said, look, I'm glad I make the choice to wake up next to you every day, right? And I think even in business, even in someone's financial situation, someone's job situation, etc., I think life is a constant stream of choices. And there are people that are genuinely down on their luck. I 100% agree. There are people that are genuinely, you know, sometimes shit's completely out of their control, things happen, etc. We have a choice as to how to respond to that. And I'm not going to do the typical thing of, you know, not that I would consider myself wealthy by any means, but it's like when people with Ferraris that sit down and they turn around and play the card of like, oh, look at those peasants, they just made bad choices.
Yeah.
However, with that said, I think we can make good choices that can make a big difference in our circumstances. And that's not about having like an avocado on toast.
Oh.
I think it's about making choices in terms of what you put your energy and effort into. Learning things that might scare you half to death. And then also taking risks. And a lot of the times it's luck. Don't get me wrong. I know
A lot of luck.
people say I don't believe in luck.
There's a lot of luck.
There's a shit ton
There's
of
a lot of luck. A lot of luck.
You know, sometimes things just align, fall into place. You're in the right place at the right time with the right opportunity, but you still then have to take and make the choice of taking advantage of that opportunity.
Yes.
And a lot of the time, I think the biggest downfall that is fear. Like I tell my kids this all the time because sometimes, they're kids, they're scared of doing shit.
Yeah.
Where I say, success is on the other side of whatever you're feeling. And you might not find it this time. Right? Yeah, 100%.
So like, I spend a lot of time just creating my own concepts for my own mindset because I want to get stronger and stronger all the time. Right? And one of the concepts I kind of thought about was, how do I know I'm on the right track? Right? And it's like, the only way you can kind of tell if you're on the right track is if it's really fucking hard and you're having a really rough time. That is the only, that is the only, like when it's really difficult and you're having a really rough time and it's really hard, that's one of the only
I'm going to bring this,
you get, right? That you're on the right track, right? Like,
I can talk to you about this close enough. I'll bring it into spirituality.
Yeah.
There's a thing in Islam where it said that God tests those who he loves the most. So always be wary when things are calm and comfy. In the sense of like, if you're not being tested, if you're not putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation, if something isn't putting you under pressure to then address or fix or overcome, something's wrong. Yeah. So you look at who you were as a kid.
Yeah.
And then you told me that you got in more trouble after that.
Yes.
At what point was there ever a point where there was a switch that went off and you're like, I'm done?
Yep.
Can you share that with us?
So like, I got involved with like gangs, drugs, all of that stuff. And well, my close friends, funny enough, just on the side note, 20 years later, my best friends still, you're one of them, but like guys I trust are still friends. Back then, they got into trouble with me. But anyways,
but hopefully you learned the same lessons with.
We all, I can confidently say my circle, strong men. Stop, not strong, not in my circle. But there was a point where I was trying to leave that life. I kept getting beaten up all the time, every fucking couple, just on the run, right? Apartment to apartment to house. They just.
So like physically being found and getting the shit kicked out of you?
Yeah, I swear there was like a group chat somewhere with my fucking face on it. No, but I'm serious.
Or like a WeChat group?
There was some WhatsApp, there was some group with my fucking face on it. Like, we spotted Shane here, let's go fuck him up, And I didn't have anywhere else to go, and I went home, and I was like, hey Dad, I'm scared. I was like, hey look, I'm really scared.
What's your dad like? You didn't talk about your dad before, and I asked you about your parents.
My dad is a hard man. Like I'm not gonna say he's a gangster, but like he early immigrant Chinese.
He'll do what he needs to do to
back
get
in the
by.
days with the boys. They'd do what they need to get by. There was no drugs back then, but they hustled.
Yeah.
I went to my dad and fucking scared. I know I have to go, and my dad was like, "Hey, look, Shane, you can come home, fine. I'd gladly shoot someone in the face for you. That's not an issue. Gotta go to jail. I go to jail. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal." But he asked me one question. He's like, "But if you were to come home, you have to make one choice. We're gonna make it right." Okay, what is it? You either go left or you go right. And then Chinese, you either go white or you go black. If you're gonna be a gangster, be gangster.
Yeah,
if you're gonna
commit.
Commit to being a gangster, right?
Yeah,
and like go get them. And if you're gonna be a good, kind, good dude,
yeah,
be a good guy, I guess, in both directions. But if you're gonna be like abiding,
it's the same. It's my dad used to freaking say when I used to grow up. It's like, be a cleaner, but be the best.
Yeah,
doesn't matter what you do, excel at it.
Yeah,
so typical. It's Asian Middle Eastern mentality, right?
Go be a good guy.
Either be a good gangster or a good guy.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I'll be a good guy, and I went and became a good guy, and thankfully no one came. He didn't shoot anybody, and that was a huge thing.
Because they were terrified.
Why?
Well, you said your dad was a badass.
Badass. Like up until like his 50s, like he still had like abs.
Yeah,
it's fit, he's fit, Yeah.
Okay, so both your parents then were pretty tough on you growing up.
Exceptionally hard. Yeah. Wow.
So once you made that decision of like you're gonna be a good kid, it's not like all of a sudden all of those friends would have disappeared, or all of that temptation would have disappeared, or all of that, because there would have been temptation not just around girls, but around money, around success, around power, all of the things that I would consider men have fallen to since time began, right? How did you not get tempted? How did you avoid going back into that life?
Honestly, it wasn't that hard. I just put all my energy into like turning my life around. I didn't really give it much thought. Like for example, I've smoked before, right?
Yeah.
And I don't smoke. And I might have a few cigarettes. Like no nicotine patches. I just don't care. Like I don't want to do it anymore. I just won't do it. Like I put all of my energy into like positive things at the time. And like I would see like, let's say like a hip hop video with like cars or whatever and like girls. But no, I was like, nah, like it's time to get to work. And it wasn't, I haven't been tempted to do it.
How old were you then when all of this happened?
Early 20s.
When did we meet?
After like home detention, after all of this, after university, after working, after not being able to find a job.
Because we first met when you were at PV.
Yeah, correct.
How was work for you? So you're like, I want to get my life back on track, etc. Then after that, you went and turned around and you got what's PB your first proper job?
No, I've had plenty of sales jobs before that, like even when I was like 14, 15, right, sales jobs. Tell another story. Like, so one of my best friends, that is John, known as a couple of different names now because he's had to change his name. You know, colourful history as well. He's done quite a bit of time. But he's out. He's turned his life around too. And one of the last memories we had before we didn't talk to each other for about a decade was at Green Lane, McDonald's. And why I'm telling the story is because I was about working, right?
Green Lane McDonald's is where the lab is at.
He came on his motorbike. I think he had a helmet. Did he find his one? Anyways, he was still a gangster. He looked like a gangster that day. I came in my PV Tech uniform, a shitty blue shirt, shitty trousers, shitty shoes.
Yeah. And
Dal was like, "You look good." But he wasn't talking to me condescending. He's like, "You look good." I'm like, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to take my life." It's okay. And he was like, "I'm going to go all the way." And we shook hands.
Like I have, a colourful past with people in the same circles.
We'll bring him on the podcast next time, okay? Well, his stories are crazy. His stories are crazy.
The thing that I will always respect is an actual gangster. Like I'm talking someone who did go left.
Yeah.
They're always going to be, they have certain traits and certain principles.
It's respectable, right?
That's respectable.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Like as strange as it sounds, I'm more comfortable sometimes, even in the business world, right? I know that I'm not going to get lied or cheated or screwed over because there are certain principles that they will die by.
Sure.
That are almost like...
Not a thug, like a real gangster.
No, like a real, like almost religious. Like they will live and die by their word.
For the sword, yeah.
Like if they give you their word on something, they would sooner give up every drop of blood in their body than to not keep their word.
You're like John. Yeah. You're like John.
It's fucking admirable.
You're like. So like.
You and I work together, right?
Yeah.
Let's 5 minutes on that. What was that like?
Fantastic. Happiest time of my life.
That's fucking brilliant too. I still remember those times.
Sold the shit out of that.
Dude.
We sold the shit out of that.
700,000 was the annual recurring revenue when we first started. And we left, I left when it was 4.7 mil. That was insane.
Sold the shit out of that thing. Yeah, it was great. It was great fun, right?
I had to fuck with to rule it in the process, but that's neither here nor there.
Because you went through a lot of personal things, and I respect you for that because you never fucking told me. And in fact, you didn't tell me, the man. I respect you for not telling me. Although I wish you would have told me, but you didn't tell me. But that's too personal. So
that's all good, man. It's all good.
But Proflow was fun. Learned a lot. Made good money. We did,
Yeah.
We were both dabbled in real estate and do all that stuff while we're doing this and make good money. Learned a lot. Learned more in what not to do than what to do.
100%.
What not to
100%.
Right? If you think about it, this dude just was like, "Hey guys, like, run my business to me and you," right? Like, roll it. Right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
go make millions of dollars. We're like, oh, okay. We're like early mid-20s, like, all right, let's give it a crack. Like, right.
100%. It was a blank canvas.
Shit. It was just like, have fun. And we're like, okay.
It was cool. It was, in hindsight, it was a brilliant opportunity. You know, and I think it was one that we both gave our all to. And it was funny how I fundamentally believe that was one of the welding points in our relationship, where I look back at that and I'm like, what I went through there turned you into a lifelong friend rather than someone I worked with.
This should be on camera. I had to manage our daughter because of business, and we're best friends still today.
Yeah.
The amount of tears we've had to share, we would have both experienced, right? You know, I'm a little bit teary now. You know, I always talk to my mom. You know, holy shit, dude.
Like, man, I love it.
I met and the money and business and I didn't know you were going through your shit, and
it was a full year.
It was tough, man. And then you told me like years later why things were.
I love you, bro. I love you, man. I love you. It's all good though. It's something that we both learned from.
Crazy, man.
We both grew out of. I don't know if I've...
I had to fire him, basically. Fuck, it wasn't easy, man.
Yeah. I don't know if I've said this before, but I don't hold a single thing in my heart about that. Genuinely.
It was tough, man.
Not a single thing.
But it's easy for me to say, but like fucking, but you went and, dude, you own the fucking office that we're doing this in today. Like, God is good, right? God is good.
Yeah.
God is good.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. It's something,
God is good.
But I think it's something that, it's funny, because you look back at those times and you're like, I had to go through that. That was part of, no one here knows any of that shit.
So our blood runs deep. Like,
yeah, this is...
yeah, I've had to cry. I'm like, fuck, like, what do I do? Like, you know,
You remember that conversation where we both burst out?
Yeah. I remember.
Just in that main lobby.
Yeah.
When you first walk in. Yeah. It's okay though. We're
fuck that place. It's finished. We made our money. We're done. Fuck that place.
Fuck, look at where we are today.
Yeah, fuck that place.
And it's the beginning. And I wouldn't have met you had we not gone through it. Right? And then Sumthin Dumplin.
Yeah.
I still remember when you, for which I am forever honored, by the way, because I was one of the few non-family members in that event, the tasting event.
Yeah.
I still remember when you first called me to tell me about it.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'm thinking about doing this.
You're like, what the fuck?
Dude, I was like, fucking do it. That sounds like an amazing idea. And I remember when I told some other people that I know in business, they're like, so just another Asian dumpling place. I'm like, no, you guys don't fucking see it. And it was funny because I think you were excellent at that point at communicating your vision. And I knew you well enough professionally where I knew how you would execute. Tell us about how it started, where it is today, and if you're comfortable, where it's going.
Well, why it started, right?
Why would be amazing.
Fuck, man. So when I left the whole Pro Workflow fucking shenanigans, I left with some money, and I was wild still then, and I met the mother of my child and a kid spontaneously. And so I helped. I tried my best, and I helped, and we tried to settle down, and I didn't work for a year and a half, and I spent this money. And then at that point, I had a couple of options: either get like a high-paying job again, or run business. And my offer as a high-paid job at the time was, do you remember 90 Seconds to Norton?
Yeah, of course I remember 90
Well, they offered me 3%. I fuck, I should have taken that. Like 3% at the time, and it's like some
like
rolling
3% on the table.
Yeah. 300,000, like I think US, 300,000 US. But I had to move to Singapore though.
Yeah, because they got funding from Sequoia. Yeah, they got 5.4 mil from Sequoia in their first seed funding round. Tim Norton was one of one of the judges in my very first startup competition that we went to.
Well, I don't know what they're up to today, but like it was a good role. It's probably worth $2 million now. Like those shares, I don't know what this company's worth. They don't do that now, but anyway, it doesn't matter. And I couldn't go to Singapore because I realized like the mother of my child, I just couldn't leave my daughter, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, to pick family first.
And I was like, okay, fuck it then. Like let's not do this. Let's just try startup business. I had like $47,000. I was like, all right, let's make it work, right? I'm fortunate to still have $47,000 there, but you got to remember, I had $47,000 in cash, but I had like looming mortgages and like real estate, and like, fuck, I sound really privileged. But anyways, we'll talk about that later. But we hustled to get that real estate, right? To that point. But anyway,
I don't think anyone, either of us, came from money.
Yeah.
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
I don't, like my mom landed in the country with less than $50. We assumed dad was dead for the first 2 years of being here. He arrived with nothing. I think very similar in your shoes, where I grew up in West Auckland.
Correct.
And the school shoes of choice was the Warehouse.
Yep.
And
everyone else had these things called rugged sharks. You remember that?
I do.
Motherfucker.
JanSport bags. Do you remember the JanSport bags?
I did not have those.
My bag was bigger than I was, and the only lunch that would make it into my lunchbox was homemade. It was funny because I think back now, I had the best fucking lunches. I will forever be grateful. I will never forget the lunches my dad used to make.
I myself, you're right. Crazy, right? Like, so I used to like be ashamed of like the Asian lunches I'd get, right? My daughter today, going to her school, I must somehow raise her differently. She loves bringing Chinese foods. Must love herself. I don't know. Like she's just fits in. She loves to bring noodles, rice to school. She's like, "Can I have it in this little tubs?" Where when I was young, I'm like, "Just give me like a sandwich or something."
I don't want to hide it. I kind of just get a ham and cheese sandwich like the rest of my plate.
Cut down the right, eh? She loves herself.
You're a good dad, bro. You're a good dad. And I'm not just saying this from my perspective. Me and my wife have both seen how you take care of your daughter. Try. Now you're a good dad. I'd be the first person to bring you up on something if I ever saw it. And for what it's worth, you're a fantastic father, and she's lucky to have you as a dad. Yeah. Okay. Why dumplings?
Yeah, well, anyways, it's down to my last little bit of money, and fucking all the bills are coming in. I was like, holy shit, like I got it.
So that it's clear, you had $47K in the bank.
Yep. Still bills coming in.
That's what I want to get to. How much were like your mortgages every week? How much runway are we talking?
Like
roughly. Couple of grand a week?
Yeah, 1,000 maybe a week, 1,500 maybe, $1,800 a week.
So you had maybe like 4 to 5 months of runway.
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Provided you were responsible with your money.
Yeah, and I just chucked it all into the store with like nothing left. And the first week we had to sell food, otherwise I couldn't pay the next week. I just blew it all on the shop. I just dumped the.
Do you remember when we had narrowed the names down to like 4?
Yeah.
4 names? Even the branding?
Yeah.
When did we start talking again? Because there was a period where, like, we went.
A year we didn't talk, right?
I think so.
Oh, we are at some dumplings. I think, yo, dude, I'm fucked. Like, tell me some dumplings now. Like, I'm fucked. Like, you're like, okay, well, what do we got here? Yeah.
I remember when can't remember if you reached out to me or if I think you reached out to me. And I remember my wife being there. I'm not a sharer, you know that. I find it really, really difficult. Even I've been married for 13 years and only now can I talk a little bit about anything I might be going through. I remember I used to say, like, my only regret in pro workflow was losing my friend. Anything else I can cope with, And I even then I'm like, I wish him the best, etc. But I was angry, and
so you should have been.
I was a kid, like I was angry and I was young, but at the same time, my wife sometimes used to talk to me about it. I was like, no, I wish him the best, and I would sit down and sometimes she'd turn around and be like, okay, but this happened. I'm like, no, but he's a good person. You know the meaning behind that. why we decided to call it the Falafel
I have no
Framework?
idea.
Okay, right. This is amazing. We'll have to take this part
I
out.
know you had that falafel food truck,
Yeah, that
which you still do.
That was
pretty
cool.
sure.
No,
That's
that's long
moved?
gone, bro.
Okay.
That's long gone. But no, I was hiring for a marketing manager.
Yeah.
And this will let you know how bullshit sometimes my industry is. This guy, his CV was immaculate. So you turn around and he's like, fucking ex-IBM,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, this guy's going to be brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, you and I have both been in sales in the past.
Yeah.
We have a really good bullshit filter.
Yeah.
Like 5 seconds in,
Yeah.
you know exactly who's full of shit.
Yeah.
This guy was full of shit. And I was having the interview out loud on that couch over there in front of all of my stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I want to see how far this guy will pull, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
So I turn around and I'm like, hey, listen, when you run your algorithms on Meta, do you take the top-down method or the left-right method?
Yeah.
Now, that's a total bullshit question.
Yeah.
Has no meaning whatsoever. And he goes, I take the left-right method. And I was like, I mean, that's how we read. That makes a lot of sense, right? So I validated a statement thinking that I'm buying your bullshit. And I was like, hang on a second, let's see how far I can really push this. And I said, by the way, Meta's released this new framework called the Falafel Framework. You know, and I'm like, this guy will pick it up. My name's Abdullah. I'm clearly Middle Eastern, and I'm talking to him about the Falafel Framework. If there was ever a time for him to pick up on bullshit, it is today. And he turns around and he goes, oh, dude, I was an alpha tester of the falafel.
Holy shit.
I'm rolling it out across IBM.
Oh, man.
And I'm sitting down going, and my team, at the time, my marketing girl was messaging our Discord being like, fuck, guys, should I know this? Like, how come I don't know this? It was insane.
Oh, man, crack up.
So that's the bullshit behind my industry. Look, from a business perspective, if somebody came up to me today and said, I'm opening up a dumpling store, I'm short on cash, it's got to work. Your first thought isn't going to be prime real estate, middle of the city, and probably what was a 3 to 5 year lease agreement.
Well, no one would give me a chance at that, right? Because no one knew me in that space. I hadn't done anything good.
And the city would have been selective about whether or not they even allow you to take on the 3 to 5 year lease agreement, right?
Back then, not many people. There were much better leases. They just wouldn't give me a chance. They wouldn't even meet me. And then this lady, Victoria, gave me a chance. Said, hey, look, you try to do it here. That's our grocery store. It's not exactly a great location. There's no walk, really. Let's be honest. You look at it today, everyone just goes to College Street. Something really, right? Like, or maybe some coffee or something, right? So someone gave me a chance, and I just worked with what I had, and like first day opening, just went outside, dumplings and platter, and just, hey, look, try my food. And I would keep doing that.
I remember that. And you started literally but you also did it well. You didn't half-ass anything. I remember when you were doing the fit out, your vision for, I don't know if you still remember you had a vision for the Monkey King on the wall.
I've got it in my hand now as well.
Yeah, right. So you had a vision as to where you wanted to go the entire time.
Yeah.
And then you got into the whole fusion between Asian and hip hop.
Yeah.
And you're seeing that at the Botany store now. What keeps you motivated?
Inspired, I guess, with where the brand is now. Like, if you think about it, it's all just been iterations of things I like, right? Like, just like things that I like.
So we can get like a Bleach and anime store next, or
maybe, yeah. No. They're all just things that I like. And I when I made Sumthin Dumplin, even in the first time, I thought about what was I trying to sell there, and because I thought about these things.
Yeah.
And and we've had these conversations. Product is always the byproduct. Like the dumplings are the byproduct, right? Like, I was like thinking, I want to sell Chinese culture. What is it to mean to be Chinese? And I had done all the branding stuff you do in a brand strategy, kind of exercise. I did it for myself.
You've done the $40,000 brand strategy by sitting down and actually doing it. Yeah.
And it was like, it was like family, hard work. It was hip hop. Because every Chinese immigrant is a hip hop fan, right? Like, not many listen to rock, right?
No. Yeah.
It's part of our culture. Like, I don't want to say it's that black hip hop culture, sure, but like, for some reason we resonate with that music, you know, like.
I think, look, we're gonna get controversial now. I don't see a lot of things as cultural appropriation. I see a lot of things as cultural appreciation.
Yeah, we love it.
If I saw someone tomorrow walking around in like a traditional Afghan outfit, I'd be like, that is so fucking cool.
Yeah, wow.
Not a single part of me would turn around. Yeah, not a single, without the bomb vests. Not a single part of me would turn around and feel offended. To be like, that's freaking cool.
Yeah.
What's next?
The last couple of years, I've done some dumpling, I've done other business. I've done the whole real estate thing, and but in the last 6 months, I've decided to kind of put everything else, cash out, and just put everything else on hold, and I've actually decided to come back to just this something only now. So we've got one more store coming up. I'm pushing for Manukau. I'm taking the business to Sydney.
Oh, wait. That's cool.
I will, the way I see it, just with population.
Sydney's going to blow up. Sydney is going to explode.
Yeah, something business there.
That'll be cool. I think it's the right place for it as well. Okay. So you heard it here first. So we're in Manukau.
Well, I've been trying to work on a lease and work on a deal there for like 2 years now. Like, it's just been really difficult. I can't get myself into any good locations, good spots. I'm not sure.
Okay. What sort of spot are you looking for in case somebody somehow magically comes up upon this snippet?
Just
like, you're looking for a store? Are you looking for a storage location as well? Are you looking for a warehouse or just a store with great frontage?
I'm to the point where I'm chill, man. As long as it's got good frontage, that's it. Metal sizes or whatever, I'll just make it work. It's all good. I'll make it work. It's fine. Don't have a budget, don't have whatever, because I've been waiting for a couple of years. Opportunity cost at this
point. Okay. And we'll finish it up. I know you got to go. What would you say the biggest lesson you've learned in business to date is, if you could impart anything to a young person that's starting from nothing and they want to do something with their lives? Now, I'm not talking about like the Gary V's of the world or insert little tidbit. From your own life personally, what would you say got you through what you went through and brought you to where you are? If you could attribute that to a 60-second elevator pitch. Doesn't have to be one single thing, but generally speaking, what would it be?
I don't think there is one. I think you got to, my pitch would be like, there isn't one. Like, it's going to be really difficult and you're going to have to just go through it, do it, and try. Don't be so stressed about making the right decision time and time again. I'd be more worried about not making enough. I always say that. It's more important to make decisions and choices and to keep moving than it is to think about it all the time. And I can explain that later on, but I fully believe.
I would love to have you. I think we make this a regular thing.
Fun, yeah.
Well, I love you. I appreciate the time that you've given me today. I don't hold a single negative thing in my heart.
I believe you.
And I'm genuinely proud of what you've achieved. I'm looking forward to this moving into Aussies so that they can finally have some good food. Appreciate it, mate. Thank you so much, bro. Like the mic.